All right, welcome in. Welcome back to the BFR Podcast presented by Sports Mockery and Homage. My name is Dave. I cover the Bears for Sports Mockery. I'm joined by my good friend, co-host Ficky, Bears content creator. You follow him on all socials at It's Ficky Baby. Of course, you can follow myself at Dave_BFR and the pod at BFR_pod at all socials as well. It's been a little bit. I think it's been, 10 days now, Ficky? We took a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather.
We needed it.
We did, man. But, hey, we needed this past weekend as well. We have Bears rookie minicamp that we're going to go ahead and recap. Also, kind of going to give you a rundown of what else we're going to talk about. We have the Justin Fields article that was from Tyler Dune, good friend, but we both have some pushbacks, some opinions on it. And then, of course, we're going to go ahead and get to the schedule not leak, but I guess the video that the Bears social media team is kind of prepping, planning. And then we'll go ahead and obviously go through some questions, of course, that we get throughout the show. But again, if this is the first time listening on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, we appreciate it. If you don't know about the BFR Podcast, we cover the Bears, all things Chicago Bears all the time, nothing else. We just stick to the Bears, and it's something that we enjoy. And, of course, we're building the community. So, Ficky, before we hop into everything, you want to kind of give some shout out to like our new Patreon we have going, just some details on all that. And then we'll go ahead and get right into minicamp, which there's a lot to get to.
Yes, definitely. So we did start a new Patreon called The Den. We do have some people in there already. I think we have 8 members. So like hats off to all of y'all. There's a bunch of great features in there. There's 2 tiers. There's a rookie tier and then there's a Hall of Fame tier. And I'm not going to go through the whole list of things, but it's in the description. The YouTube description, but like the rookie tier, we're doing giveaways in there. You get access to our Discord, which you already have people in there, and we're having conversations, which is great. There's also, I haven't told you this one about this, Dave, yet, but I'm thinking about doing fantasy football. We could do one in there as well, so you get access to that, where you can win some free BFR merch. We also have BFR merch out there if you'd like to purchase and help support us there. But yeah, we're really trying to build a Bears community here, really get a nice tight group ready to go before the season, because it's going to be electric. So if you want to join the community, you just need to look up the BFR Den on Patreon. Again, it will be in our YouTube description. And if you want to support us by buying some merch, we have some fire tees, sweatshirts, hats, and some of you have already purchased, so we thank you for that. You just need to go to thebfrstore.com and you can buy everything you want on there. So yeah, a lot of great stuff. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
No, absolutely. I'm really, really excited. I think this next couple months is really going to pick up just as far as Bears content. We already had a great weekend with rookie minicamp that we'll kind of get to. We have 2 full days. I kind of consider it one day because the second day, from what I've heard, what I've seen, everything, it was not eventful. But of course, still a lot to get to outside of just maybe the football aspect of it. So, but then we have potentially Hard Knocks, which I think we all kind of want on this podcast, including our producer Jack, who, shout out to Jack, he got a new gig with the Chicago Bears. We'll kind of let him explain that later. But we'll show him some love. That was really cool. That happened the last couple of days here. But you have Hard Knocks, like I mentioned. We have we have more OTAs coming. I think it's voluntary and then mandatory OTAs with both the vets and the rookies kind of mixing. So we get to see DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and those boys kind of get to, I guess, they've already kind of started the chemistry with, building with Caleb Williams and such. So that'll be cool. And then, of course, we're going to start camp probably mid-July because of the Hall of Fame game and everything like that. So really, I think this is it's going to start picking up. And we have the schedule release on Wednesday, which we are going to be going live that evening as well. So last week we kind of missed an episode. We kind of decided to take a little bit of a break, recap Monday, and then Wednesday we'll be here to kind of go over the schedule, kind of give our predictions, which is it doesn't make it's pointless, but it's fun. It's kind of like fun. Fantasy football. It's fun. This can be a fun little thing to do. We did it last year. We're going to do the same thing here. Probably talk about our favorite matchups and everything like that. So
to be fair, we said about 8 to 9 wins last year. So we were kind of on point. I'm not saying we're going to be accurate this time, but it wasn't like we were far off from actual expectations.
Yeah. No, we would have probably surpassed both of our predictions if the Bears win a couple games here,
Yeah, Fields doesn't get injured too.
Fields don't get injured. Yep, that was the softest part of the schedule. Shout out Tyson Bagent going 2-2, but probably go 4-0, maybe 3-1 at least. So I guess one thing I want to kind of talk about, Ficky, before we hop into, training camp, Jared Goff. This was before the pod broke, and I wanted to throw it on here. The Lions, who, I mean, the NFC North, we talked about it last episode, is going to be a bloodbath. It is going to be nasty. However, if you're a Bears fan, I don't know how mad you can be about this signing. The Lions and QB Jared Goff agreed to a 4-year, $212 million extension with $170 million guaranteed. The franchise quarterback is locked in for the next 4 years to come. I don't see Detroit pulling, Falcons over here next year and drafting a quarterback or anything like that, because that is insane commitment. Not insane. I'm not going to say it because I'm happy for Goff.
Yeah.
That trade with the Rams is really just a win-win for what you get a Super Bowl. And then, Goff has had a really revitalized his career in Detroit. So, But first of all, just initial thoughts.
I mean, it's a lot of money. So I think he's getting like $53 million per year, which is second,
Jesus, dude.
Right. So is it deserved in essence? Did he deserve a new contract with that team? Absolutely.
Yes.
But I have a Detroit Lions fan, and he said in our chat here, wait a second, let me see if I can find it. He said, I like Goff, but second highest paid QB is crazy. And this is a Lions fan. You know what I mean? So I think I saw a tweet out there where I think now the Lions have like 80% of like their cap in 4 players. Because remember, they paid Penny Sewell, well-deserved as well, Amon-Ra, right? And now Goff. Just this offseason, and every single one of those contracts was over $100 million. Now, of course, it was like 3-4 years. These are longer contracts, but they are paying their people. But with most QB contracts, if it works out, right, and this is pretty obvious, like if the quarterback plays well, it's 100% worth it to cap your team and how much money you have allocated. The issue is if Goff has any sort of regression or doesn't keep playing at least in like that top, I'd say like top 6-ish. He's playing like a top 6 quarterback past 2 years. If he doesn't play within that, then it's like, okay, now we don't have our quarterback who's playing up to it, which is a problem. And we are in cap hell because of how much we're paying to him. It's not easy to offload that. So for now, and based off what he's done, he's going to get paid. It's the NFL quarterback market. You know what I mean? We talked about Fields was projected to get it was like 180 or something like that. And that's Fields. So obviously Goff did his thing 2 years in a row, which is hard to do, revitalized a Lions franchise that has always been doo-doo and have put them at the top. They won their first NFC North division championship since the 60s or something. So well-deserved. It's just like, you see that number and you're like, Goff? You think like CJ Stroud or something like that, but he's not, obviously his pay is not there yet.
And I don't even know if you would commit. I don't know if I would commit to CJ Stroud that much money right now. After 1 year. It was great. It's insane. But yeah, I agree. I think Goff, it reminds me of Kirk. He reminds me of Kirk Cousins a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's fair. Just similar. They're so productive. It's like you have to pay them a premium because of their production. Like you see Kirk Cousins and what he puts up, or at least in Minnesota with, Justin Jefferson and everybody. But Goff last year it was insane. If he wasn't playing the Bears, he was on point. Like outside of that, he was dog shit. He was terrible.
But you know what? What also gets to that contract is something that Kirk Cousins couldn't do. Goff actually wins playoff games. Even in LA, he won playoff games. It may not have been because of him, but this year alone, Goff literally was leading that team to playoff wins, right? It wasn't like the game manager type of ordeal. This man was producing in the regular season and producing in the playoffs. So from their, front office standpoint, like I can understand why you're like, you deserve a new contract. But from an outside perspective, you just see the number and the name and you're like, holy shit. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it plays out, but good for Goff. You're on mute.
Hey, I'm already in this thing.
You're in season mode already.
Yeah,
we love it.
I went so long. I had a streak there, like muting myself.
You did. It was pretty long.
However, back on whatever. Anyways, the Goff thing is, I think it's interesting. I as a Bears fan, you kind of excited because I feel like there's a ceiling there. I think we maybe even saw it last year with how insane that team was. But I'm not going to doubt the Lions. Happy for their fans and everything. Yeah. So just. NFC North is going to be ridiculous. And that's why I'm excited about this schedule release on Wednesday, because it's all about when you play teams, of course. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to kind of see where we kind of what similarities we have and what games you think. Because I think the Bears are going to have, the third or fourth easiest schedule in the league?
Third or fourth easiest schedule, and I think they might still – this is my prediction, hot take. I think they'll be top 7 in primetime games. They'll have the third or fourth easiest schedule, but still be like top.
Dude, by the end of like week 8, the NFL is going to be – everyone's going to be tired of the Bears except for us. Because I think if we get Hard Knocks and then you get 7 – you get as many primetime games as you probably think they might, which they will. It's Chicago. It's the market. They get eyes. So I think it's going to be I think people are going to be kind of fed up unless Caleb Williams is insane, and then you're probably like they're probably enjoying watching the Bears actually, which is very rare on prime time. So, anyways, I kind of want to just get to that one because that was obviously it's going to affect the Bears and the NFC North for at least a few more years. But again, hats off Jared Goff. I think it's a crazy cool story and his redemption arc there. But I want to get the Bears minicamp. We're going to start hot right now. Odunze, Caleb Williams, day 1. Everyone saw the highlights. Everyone heard the reports. I thought it was it's cool to see these two guys. Obviously, they've been playing and throwing, prior to this. But to go out there, I know it's not against, the Bears defense. It's a bunch of tryout players, college players. But you get to see the talent on full display. And I think the one thing with Odunze, I want to talk about that, Ficky, and I'll kind of go to you with maybe the best, and maybe worst things you kind of saw over the weekend. But for me, I like day 1 Odunze and how active that connection was. You can see it growing. You're going to see it probably the next, 3-4 months, of course, into the season. But, I mean, Odunze played so hard on day 1. And I know a lot of people, were upset. And I would jokingly said that the season was over when we heard about Odunze and his hamstring tightness. Obviously, that's not the case. It's just precautionary. The guy was out there running routes, doing stuff he probably shouldn't have done. But at the same time, I love the connection. I love how often they went to each other in day 1. And then I'm not concerned. I want to kind of leave that with you. Any concerns whatsoever?
No.
Odunze.
The season's so far away. Like, it's not.
I'm not going to say the comparisons.
I was about to.
If you're a Bears fan, I don't even want to say it on this podcast.
I know. That's fair.
I want to be the only Bears podcast to not bring up that.
I will not say it, but it's not. I'm not.
But we know.
About that. Yeah. But I will. Just like most things with the Bears, because we haven't been good for a while, there's a lot of PTSD. We have a lot of trauma. So we see one thing and we kind of dramatize it. Like we're over dramatic with it because we've seen in the past, like, when one little thing happens, it normally dominoes into years of just pain.
But it's similar to like it's so much to go off of. Like, again, we're not going to say the name. It's a little bit here, I guess we can do, but it's similar to like Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, where there was that comparison. Like, they're the same player, but on surface level, maybe you can see that like average fan that doesn't really. No, these guys are completely different quarterbacks. And you saw that as you dove into the tape, into the offseason. And then, of course, you just listen how the coaches have spoken about him. And you look at DJ Moore, one of the biggest things. What is the biggest takeaway with working with Caleb Williams?
Anticipation.
Like, it's beautiful. That's what you want to hear. We didn't see enough of that with Justin. And again, I love Justin. We're going to get to that article later. But that's that right there, the key difference was interesting.
Well, you know
what
what's
is
also Mr. James on YouTube. Here. Yeah, Mr. James on YouTube said, I can't wait for that first Caleb run for a touchdown, throws on the crown, and bear claws everywhere in the crowd. I'm with it.
Dude, the bear claw. I guess we'll talk about that. Yeah, I like it.
Look, it is what it is. Like, if you think about celebrations, like if you were to take it away from like the actual sport and in the moment, you're like, that's dumb. You think of Aaron Rodgers double check, right? Discount double check. Like, if you saw someone do that in public, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like, celebrations are cringe. If you just see someone getting out there for no reason, to no music or anything, just doing the giddy, you'd be like, this is awkward, right? They are obviously kind of cringe, but that's the point. When he scores a touchdown and does it, it feels way different than when you see a photo of it. Let's be real, right? Because there's more context to it. I promise you, people will actually love it once we're like, just like with anything, winning cures all. But when we're having exciting plays and they do it, people are going to eat it up. And I think the funny part of it now is like, at first we're kind of like, oh, Caleb kind of came with it on the fly, which you did. Then Rome's doing it. You kind of got like two people, whatever. Okay, then there's a you start seeing it more. Keenan Allen, doesn't do it the first time at the Chicago Sky game, then throws it up again. You know what I mean? We caught him there. And then you see the best photo, I think, is the rookies that we drafted. But you're gonna pull it up here. You got the main one that has everyone in it, right? Now everyone's not doing it in it, which is totally fine. But you have a majority of them throwing up the bear claw. And there's like 40 people in this.
And when I initially saw this photo, because my caption was like everyone at Bears minicamp was throwing up the bear claw. I honestly thought everyone was. And then as I looked more into it, you got Odunze who's probably his hand's tired from doing it earlier. So you got to give him a break here. And then, you got Caleb laying down, just chilling.
You just love it. But you know what the best one is though, Dave? It was the photo even before that where it's Flus. It's Flus, it's Rome, it's Taylor, it's Caleb, it's Karan, and it's Poles. and Austin. So basically, all our draft picks are GM and our head coach. Yeah. So
I will say this: I like what Caleb's doing. I like the chemistry. I like the build, the locker room feel. I feel like it's just like this team's been together a little bit longer than just a couple weeks. These rookies are really starting to. You're starting to see the impact from Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze onto this roster, and of course the vets aren't really in the building right now. So it's cool to see him take control, take command, kind of over the last couple of days here. So for me, the bear claw, I don't mind it. I don't care really. Honestly, I think it's a little. I think Rome said it, or who said it? I think it was Komet.
Komet said it. Yeah,
he said it's a little cheesy, but. Which I think is fair, but I think it is kind of fun. It's supposed to be fun, like you said. So I don't really care.
At the end of the day, it is bringing the team together in essence.
But I'd still want, as far as the celebration goes, the crown celebration just by itself. That's all way better. I don't need the bear claw.
But the thing is that's
how is he going to celebrate that? He's just going to
They'll figure something out. I'm sure
he's just score, put them both up. Look at the fan. I don't know.
I don't know
how that works. Yeah,
they'll figure something out. But
or he'll maybe do like a Lambo leap and then like pose with the
claw.
With
it.
Yeah, something like that. That would be funny.
The thing is though, the claw now can go to everyone. The crown is just Caleb. So like he created something that anyone can use now. You know what I mean? When we really didn't have anything. So. Yeah. Whether it's short-lived or not, it's fun. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Fun.
It just gets you excited. It's don't look at it and think it's more than what it is. But it's not like it's a negative, So
yeah, no, exactly. So where were we going with that? We're talking about Rome and Caleb's connection. So what are your thoughts over that? Just hearing that over the last couple of days, their press conferences and everything with them.
I'll say this, and I think. With Rome, I feel like I kind of already knew this, but Rome kind of gives like a very mature type of, like when he did his presser, and I've seen his other pressers and things like that in interviews, he's very like put together. And so is Caleb. But what I like about both of them, not only the chemistry that they're building with each other, it seems like these guys have the right mental as well. Like Caleb talked about like the leadership. Everyone talked about the leadership quote. We posted as well, but where it's like right now I'm not leading, I need to follow first. I'm listening with 2 ears, taking in information, and when that time comes to be a leader, boom, I'm gonna be, when that opportunity comes, I'm gonna step into that role. But right now I've got so much information I got to take in. I haven't even, this is your first day on the field, right? You can't come in here and just lead necessarily from the start. So I thought that was a very mature and realistic answer. So that kind of compared with how Rome spoke as well. It's like the talent alone obviously makes you feel very good about these guys, but the talent mixed in with their headspace and mixed in with the connection it seems like they're building, it's kind of hard to like have any negative thoughts.
That even translates to the coaching staff. Like they're a bunch of just not professionals. I don't think that's the right word, but it's like they're just good. They're good people, good at what they do. Obviously a little coach speak in there, maybe a little too much, but like they're just really, I think, smart. And I'm not worried. Like Flus, I guess I was worried last year, but you saw the turnaround and everything. And of course, with his new look, we all joke about. But I just like everything that's kind of been brought in with everywhere. Special teams, Washington, and then you got the new DC. You got Flus continue to call plays. So I want to get back to that quote because that's a really good point. Leadership, because I think that obviously going into this draft, everyone was hyper analyzing, including ourselves, I guess, a little bit about Caleb and how he could maybe mix into the locker room, which has been seamless and been really cool to see and hear these guys talk about. I think Karan had a really cool quote that I'll bring up here in a minute, but the quote that you were referring to on leadership, you almost got it perfect, but I wanted to just get the whole entire quote out there. It's just so good. And I did not expect it. Like I did not that, I thought Caleb was anything bad or anything. I did not expect him to say something like this. So I said, to be a great leader, you got to learn how to follow first. Right now I'm following all the vets, having both ears open and my mouth shut. I think it's that last part, both ears open and mouth shut. This guy is a superstar coming into this league, and the fact that he just gets it. He gets, the dynamic. He understands he has to be unaware. He has to be a leader, right, at the quarterback position. It's just part of that role. It's one of the most important, obviously, positions on the field, if not the most important. And the fact that he just comes into this, humble, humility, and it makes a lot of sense. It kind of reminds me of like the Jalen Johnson quote that kind of got spun around because I don't think he really meant it, but none of that Hollywood stuff coming in, right? You kind of start from ground zero again, right? Well, no matter what you did in college.
Think about it. You're coming into a league and this is a brutal league, right? You put your heart and soul and sweat into this, right? So you're coming into a league of people that have been getting beat up for 3 to 4 years. Could you imagine someone coming in and just being like, oh, whatever, this is my ship now? And it's like, bro, you have not been through the gauntlet yet. Even if I'm not, me personally, right? This might just be my take, but even if I'm not like a starter on the team and a rookie comes in and acts like, they're all of this. And it's like, bro, I haven't even seen you make it through training camp, which is tough as hell. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like, you're doing too much. So obviously I didn't think any of the people that we're going to bring in was going to act like that. Cause I don't think, like, Poles talks about, like, you have to love football. Like, he's always talked about from the jump, like, they put a lot of emphasis on bringing in football players, people that have that right mindset. Obviously talent's important too, don't get me wrong, but they are really like, no, we need the true people that are like, know this game, that love this game, and that like understand the dynamic of this game. And you can see that with Caleb and Rome. And not only that, you can see that with the past rookies that he's brought in, whether they've been, let's say they may not been like the best rookies, or they maybe haven't reached their peak yet, right? But from a headspace standpoint, everybody that he's drafted, there has been no drama. There hasn't been any type of stuff that's come out about the players that Poles has drafted. The only time there was drama was about, obviously, the Fields debate, which had nothing to do with the players. And then Claypool, that's it.
Yeah.
But again, that's not someone he drafted, right? That was a trade. So that's his biggest loss. We all know that. But I say that to be like, the quote was surprising, right? Because I'm like, oh, wow, that's like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised that the guys he's brought in are the right guys to be on this team and at some point lead. You know what I mean? So hopefully that keeps going, because that's how you build championship team. That talent mixed in with hard workers and leaders, it's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out. Jerome, I think, is it Jerome or Jerome?
Jerome.
DWC dropped his hype video. I haven't watched it. I liked it just because I know I'm going to like it, of course. But I haven't. I'm going to circle back to it. Yeah, it was Rome Odunze. Check it out on YouTube. And then, of course, he has it on his Twitter as well.
Yeah, yep.
So back on Caleb Williams here. So 2 practices in, right? Oh, what was it?
It's Jeremy, by the way. I saw a comment.
So. Oh, Jeremy.
Jeremy. We've been saying it wrong this whole time. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy. I actually just followed him on Twitter as well, I think, because I think it was him. Last name's pretty unique. So, 2 practices in, it is just rookie minicamp. But here's a quote from Kiran
Amagaji. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He goes, this is about Caleb Williams. He goes, he's a big presence in the locker room already. He's a good leader. He's a person that works hard. He's always the first one in the morning. When I get here, he's here already, which you love to hear. I know we hear it a lot, but that's good. That's not always the case. But of course, Caleb, we all know about his work ethic. And he said, when I get here, he's here already. So I think he's going to be a great leader for us on this team. So that fellow rookie draft mate there, saying some really cool things about him. So
all we've heard is positive stuff. So again, is there negative that he hasn't played it down? I get it. He hasn't played it down, but so far, and this is kind of like an overarching theme, which I think is really good, which applies to kind of like Rome as well. What we expect from them we're seeing, right? So we draft 2 high picks. Caleb, and we'll talk about like his actual throws and whatnot, but Caleb's looking good in practice. Rome's looking good in practice. They're both presenting themselves well, right? Everyone else talks about these 2 in a positive light. So you're like, okay, we expected these 2 top picks to be talented, to be leaders of men. And it seems like that's the case. And that has not always been the case, especially with us, with some of these top picks we brought in or top talent we brought in. So the fact that there's like no, like you could view this and be like, oh, this is boring, or none of this is out of the ordinary. Good. That's what I want. That's exactly what we want. We don't want all that extra stuff that's sparking conversations, because typically that means something is happening that we're not expecting. And typically it's in a negative light. That's something bad is happening. So I'm just happy that these highlights that came out of Caleb, these highlights that came out of Rome are good. You're like, okay, yeah, there's no defense. Yeah, of course. But guess what? Caleb's throwing beautiful dots. I mean, we could talk about that, right? 2 days in a row, when they're doing the go routes and he's throwing those 40-yard passes, they're all
seamless,
seamless, right? And you're like, oh yeah, there's no defense. But guess what? We've definitely had quarterbacks in here before where it's not the case. Or you could go look at, not to talk about the rivals over here, but if you go look at some Vikings highlights I've seen, and it doesn't mean that JJ McCarthy is not going to be good, but they're having conversations or people are talking about them like, look at some of these throws. Oh my gosh. Again, it doesn't mean that you're going to be bad in the NFL. It's practice. But it's a distraction, I guess, maybe from the fan standpoint, probably not in the building, but like, I'm just happy we aren't dealing with that. You know, balls look good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good passes, great catches. Okay, cool.
I like when it comes to Caleb, and I think Rome is as advertised. And when you can see the difference between, I mean, these guys are tryout players, college players. They have some experience there, but majority of them are not going to be on the roster. They're not going to be here. But it's good when you see a difference between what you should top 10 pick in Rome Odunze. You would hope to see that, but I think there was about how Rome brings in the ball, right? Or he uses his hands at the lat. He kind of keeps them down, right, when the ball's coming, so DB can't see. You saw, I think it's a really good breakdown on Twitter. I forgot who did it. It's escaping me, but you saw that right there. And you saw the other receivers, just kind of hands out. You just see the difference, even if it's subtle. And of course, Caleb Williams. One thing I noticed with him, just from everything, was just the release and how effortless it is. Like you hear about it, but it's just so different than Justin. And I hate to bring it up. It's just like Justin was our last quarterback. He was the quarterback of the Bears. And of course he had some flaws, and it's like Caleb is just so, I feel like he doesn't have some of these things that were just such big flags,
well, that's why he was
issues with.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's the number one prospect. You know what I mean? That's why he's been the number one prospect for 2 years. So yes, it is. It is nice. We are very lucky to have fallen into this situation. And then along with not just the talent aspect that you said, but I'm just so happy there is, like, we went through an offseason that, let's be real, like from a fan perspective, I'm speaking just on the fans. We went through kind of a crazy offseason of like drama and high emotions and things like that. It's just nice that we turn that chapter. Someone comes in and it's just like, oh, great. You were the top prospect. You at least look good in practice. Great. Could you imagine if it was like he comes in and balls are hitting the ground and he's missing throws left and right? Could you imagine that? And then that would then spark the conversation again of like, well, why didn't we have Justin? We should get Justin. You know what I mean? So
a comment here on YouTube, Squeegee, he goes, they said he flicks the ball like Aaron Rodgers. And it's like, I've been a little hesitant because I don't like saying, like, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, right? But it's like, can we use any other comparison? But no, he really is. It just his game, everything reminds you of Aaron, which would be kind of poetic that we get our own Aaron Rodgers to kind of maybe slay, Green Bay and maybe take the NFC North, never give it back, like Paul said. But I think that comparison more and more, I'm really excited to see it in the NFL, obviously at this level. But it is, if we have our own Aaron Rodgers, man, it makes sense. About damn time.
That's the man he loved as a kid.
Yeah.
You don't think he took things from?
But not everyone
can.
Player? Even if you like, he has the talent to emulate it.
Do that.
Not everyone can do it.
No, but I'm saying though, I'm not surprised where it's like you have the talent, and then you chose to also. You knew you could do the same stuff that he does, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna kind of build my foundation off of that, right? Like you see that, and not to get off topic here, but you see that with the NBA. You look at Anthony Edwards right now. He kind of does a lot of stuff Jordan does, right? He has the talent to do it. It doesn't mean that he is or that he will be that great, but these guys are so talented. They're like, oh, they see, oh, Aaron Rodgers made that type of throw. Let me try to do that. And they're like, oh, I can do that. Let me try to build off that. So you're right. If we get an Aaron Rodgers type player, bro, after all these years of having nothing even close and having to face that man for what 10 plus years, and even someone similar to him, Brett Favre, literally the 10 plus years before. Poetic justice, man. I just much needed, but got a lot of proof. We're not over here saying he is that. He's got a lot of proof. I think he has the ability to do that, and thankfully, Ryan Poles has built a beautiful roster. Not done yet, but at least on the offensive side, to be like, look, you've got a lot of help to do this, right? You don't have to put the weight on your back like Fields had to, which can lead to a lot of bad habits and whatnot. So that's nice to see as well.
Absolutely. I want to shift to another rookie here, Austin Booker. I think he was one of my bigger takeaways from this one was, I know there's no pads or anything like that, but there is you could see, first of all, just how insanely, he's kind of like he's just so like his size, like he's just so different. I know he's a 5th round pick, and he is raw. I think that was a funny thing that I think all rookies are raw. I think is one of the Bears coaches who said that.
I mean, it is true. It
is true. But it's just like his length, you could see very, very clear, like why it's so, like why everyone's kind of pumped about Austin Booker. And then you get the story about him already talking. I think he already called up Max Crosby and, trying to get some tips and everything like that. But one of my biggest takeaways from him or from this camp is just Booker. Like I'm excited to see what he can do when the vets come around. Obviously, when the pads get here at training camp, preseason, I'm sure he's going to get a lot of reps there. So first of all, Austin Booker, what are your, like, you kind of probably feel the same boat here, right?
Yeah, no, I think as a whole,
see if I pulled the photo.
Yeah, as a whole, I like for most of these draft picks, I feel good about. And not only, it's not just my own assessment, because obviously I don't study these prospects like some of these analysts do, but like you hear like PFF, you hear some other analysts talking about not only Booker, but they love the
4th round for Booker.
Well, they said some people out there said that like some expected him to stay an extra year. And if he would have stayed an extra year, he'd probably have a 2nd round grade, right? So trading up to get him in the 5th was, some people view as like that was one of the best values of the draft. I'm not saying it's the best, but they're saying like that's good value. Again, those are just numbers. You got to come on the field and produce. But he does look good out there. I am excited to see him as well. You know who I'm also excited to see? This is obviously a down part of the OTAs is Karan. Like, I say that because his physical size is like dominant, but also I trust Poles because of what he was able to do with Braxton Jones, right? And I'm like, did Poles find someone in like 2 years that could easily fill in somewhere in the line and be dominant in that? Now, again, I want to say all of this though, because I know we're all excited and hyping all this up, which we should, but me and you, and I know you agree, it's like we do understand this is just OTAs. Right? They need to get out there. They need to put a hand in the dirt. They got to see them go against other players, vets, things like that. There's a long time to go. But from what we've seen so far, like I agree. Booker, I was excited when we picked Booker in the 5th because I actually knew that name. I didn't know about Karan, I'll be honest. But I thought that was a good I thought that was a good idea to go back up in the in the 5th round. And we only gave up the future 4th, which we got from a trade previously. So like overall, we didn't give up much to get a potential edge. And let's be real. And maybe this is a question for you, Dave. Do you think he gets snaps? Does he, I mean, we still got time, so we got to see if we bring in a free agent or something, but like that DE2 position is kind of open.
Yeah. It all depends on like maybe a Calais Campbell or, Yannick Ngakoue. It all depends on what they do here in the next month or two. But I think the goal, And I think the expectation is at least throughout the year he gets more and more reps, right?
Oh, has to.
His talent's got like Calais Campbell, great vet signing. I would love to see it. I already kind of wrote about it. I would like to see him 1-year deal, similar to Yannick Ngakoue. Honestly, either one I would be fine with. I know some people are more don't want to do a rerun or run it back with Yannick, but I would be fine with that. And maybe Osberg. Eventually I would like to see Booker kind of overtake, maybe, compete for more snaps as the year goes on, just as far as progressing development. That's what you would like to see with Booker. And I think that he has all the tools, but like you said, we just have to see what he can do at this level. Hopefully it's quick, but we don't know. It may be a year or two before he really just is able to get on the field consistently, but
that's the thing with the NFL too. It's so hard to project. It's not like some other sports where it's like, you look at these top 5 candidate prospects for the NBA, they come in and they dominate. You're like, oh yeah, everyone knows that. But like the NFL, you get your last year with Puka Nacua, right? Obviously, if people thought Puka was what he was, he wouldn't have went in the 5th round, right? So these guys obviously have to come in, produce. They are all raw. I agree with the coach. Like there's a lot to come, and obviously with rookies other than Caleb and maybe Rome. All of the rest of them, I'm like, I'm not expecting immediate results. Like, and some of them aren't going to be starters anyways. I wouldn't expect them to have immediate results. You're just hoping that like within year 2 and year 3, you're now hitting like your peak. Same thing we saw with like Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker, right? Mm-hmm. Jaquan was more impactful his rookie year, but Gordon, we were like, bro, you're getting burnt left and right, penalties. We're like, I don't know about that. Yeah. And then you saw he kind of passed the threshold and started to ball out. So it takes time. They all progress to different parts. So
exactly. I agree with that. I wanted to read, let me see here. It was going to be new DC Eric Washington on Austin Booker and just kind of on what he brings, and what he's seeing firsthand with him. So his quote, he goes, length is a great advantage, talking about Booker, for every player on the field, especially a player on the edge. He said, what it allows you to do is advance and put the tackle under duress right away. He can gain ground. He can fully take the grasp and really force the protection mechanics against the person he's working against. The quicker you can get there, the quicker you can initiate the play, initiate the violence, the better. So essentially, hopefully his length, hopefully this speed, everything's going to translate. In a perfect world, we get a Max Crosby 2.0 or maybe like a watered down version. I mean, I'll take that. But it is fun. You just see these guys. You get to see them first on the field, everything like that. So it is fun to kind of you get football back a little bit. That's the most exciting part that I've been able to kind of enjoy the last couple of days. And now we get a little bit of a break. But so I have another, I guess, Tory Taylor that kind of quote that I thought was interesting. We're going to shift to Tory. Obviously, the Bears picked him in the 4th round, and there was some pushback about it. You hear that. And he was a really short quote. He kind of elaborated on it, but he just talked about maybe he was asked about the skeptic or like the criticism or the critics, living up to that. And he goes, basically, he was just like, pressure is a privilege, and that right there, I love it. First of all, I mean, he's just a cool dude. You see him walk around, like I think they showed him walking in for the first time into Hallis Hall, and pair that with his Australian accent, and then of course,
it's hard
he's
not
an
to
insane punter, right?
Yeah.
But I just like the idea, like, that's a cool little rebuttal when it comes to, he understands there's pressure. Like, obviously, he is very highly touted as far as just his position.
He went in the 4th.
He's going to be
in the 4th.
He's a weapon, man. Like, he really is. And he wants the ball in his hands. He didn't say that, but like, that's the type of player he is. He wants to be able to change the game at any given moment. And so no better shot to do that than, of course, at the punter position, be able to pin these guys back. And you got the defense that the Bears have that could potentially be top 10, if not borderline top 5 defense coming into 2024. So I love the pick. I'm excited about it. I did hear he did have he had like the jitters day one, a couple shanks.
But that's what practice is. Yeah. Look, that's what practice is for, right? Like, at the end of the day, we can't say these rookies are raw and then not expect them to fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, The only one where I'm like, I don't want to see fuck ups, but it's going to happen is Caleb, because we want our quarterback to be amazing.
Well, everything is such an overreaction,
Facts. But in reality, yeah, he's gonna miss passes. All they're rookies. These are 22, 23-year-old kids coming in that still have to learn the game. And so it's going to happen. And that's what practice is for as well. Vets mess up as well. That's the whole point. You just hope when it comes to game day, which is a long way away, that's why we're not overreacting here, but when it comes to game day, we see less of those mistakes, right? And that leads to more wins. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I promise you, Caleb is going to throw a bad ball. I promise you, Odunze is going to drop a pass where he should have caught. I promise you, Austin Booker is going to get pushed around when he should. It's going to happen. So I think overall, though, I think the vibes are high and there's no drama. So for me, like, things are good. And no major injuries. I know Kron's got his hamstring, but they've known about that. But
Squeegee over here, that's funny. Talk about depth. The crocodile punter can sub at every position. That's funny. I think you said it there. I think we'll leave it at that. Minicamp. Bears minicamp, a rookie minicamp. Good vibes. You got some fun, really cool photos. You got the bear claw. You got the duo, the chemistry building between the two top 10 picks in Williams and Odunze. You got Austin Booker to be excited about. Karan. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to look forward to. I'm excited for the next couple months here, especially if we can get Hard Knocks, of course. Like, that's what I keep on saying it, but I'm really, really excited about that. But before we transition into this Justin Fields hit piece, just kidding. I don't know. It does feel like that a little bit. It's weird.
A little bit.
And I love Tyler. I really do. And I'm sure he got his information and he spent a lot of time on it. So shout out to him. But we'll get to that here in a moment because we both have some things to say about it. So before we do, if you are enjoying the episode and you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It really just helps, obviously build the show, build the community. We appreciate it. If it's your first time listening, thank you. We obviously, during the off season, we only do one episode a week. And then during the season, we are at 2 episodes a week, both a pregame and postgame show. And like I said, we cover the Bears for sportsmarket.com. And we are, like I said, it's just all Bears all the time on this pod. And so I think we're over 4,200 subs on YouTube, over 11,000 followers on Twitter, and Instagram's growing as well. I think we're at 3,000-4,000 right there. Yeah. So just a lot of growth. And we want to obviously first say thank you guys.
All to y'all.
Absolutely. So, but again, first time or long time, if you can hit the sub button, and of course, review the pod on Apple or Spotify where you listen to the podcast. We appreciate it. So,
and then also, if this is your first time here, go ahead in the chat, give a hashtag new face gang. We'll give you a shout out at the end of the show. And if you're an OG in here, which means it's your second time or it's your 50th time, whatever it is in between, go ahead and give a hashtag OG. We'll give you a shout out here as well before the end of the show. And then again, we just want to mention that we do have a Patreon that is live called the BFR Den, like the word BFR, the show, and Den. And on there, we have 2 tiers that have like exclusive content that we're going to be doing. We'll have them for the members in there now. I've already been working with Dave. We're going to be having near the end of the month our mailbag episode exclusively just for our Patreon. We do have a giveaway. We're going to be giving away a BFR shirt at the end of the month to one of our Patreon members. And then obviously you get access to the private Discord. Once fantasy football comes around, we're going to do a fantasy football league in there as well. And then the higher tier, there's even some great stuff, some giveaways, free giveaways, one-on-one Zoom calls with Dave and I and Jack, like tons of great stuff in there. So if you want to support the show, but also get some great value, then check out the BFR Den on Patreon. It'll be in our YouTube description as well. And then if you want to support the show as well with some fire merch, go ahead and go to the BFRstore.com and you can buy some BFR gear on there. We got hats, beanies, shirts, sweatshirts, and we're working on some special edition merch as well. There'll be limited quantity that I think that you guys will really, really enjoy. So thank you guys again for the support.
Oh, absolutely. And then I want to go ahead and shout out newest sponsor, Homage. Right now, we don't have the code. We're working behind the scenes to kind of get our code. But if you scan right here from what we've been told right here in the top right corner, of course, this is only on YouTube. It should take you, and then, of course, it should be able to go ahead and give a 10% discount. So as soon as we get that, we'll have it on the screen. But we have partnered with Homage to go ahead and get these shirts right here. This is just one of them. Yep. You got one as well, Walter Payton. So obviously, just really cool stuff. Homage has been around a long time. If you're a sports fan, I mean, they have really, really cool stuff. Some of the biggest pods in the world partnered with them. So we're really, really excited to be, of course, joining forces with them, of course, on the Bears side. Bears, Chicago Bears, any type of t-shirts, or honestly, I think it's any type of apparel over there in the Bears collection. Go ahead and get 10% off. Just go ahead and scan the QR code. Of course, and we'll go ahead and get the code here, hopefully by next episode, which should be Wednesday. So appreciate your guys' support. Shout out to Homage. Shout out to, of course, Sports Mockery supporting the pod. And like I said, we're excited.
And shout out to y'all as well for all the great support so far. Really do appreciate it.
No, absolutely. It's been, I think we're coming up on our 1 year.
Is it been, that's crazy.
Well, remember we started, obviously for those that know, we started actually, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I think, yeah.
And we kind of pushed through that season a little bit, kind of stopped, but then we went full on every single week, twice a week during the season, starting actually around this time when the schedule came out for the 2023 season. So yeah, we can go back. If you want to cringe, go back to our very, 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 very first episode of the BFR podcast, and you can laugh your ass off a little bit. So
hey,
hope we're a little bit better.
Hey, look, we were rookies too. You know what I mean? We were raw. Yeah. We had to get some
minicamp right
tools. There. Yeah, but no, it's been great. Kind of a year that's kind of wild. All the growth that we've had in support in a year. That's awesome. Next year's going to be even better, and we're just going to keep building and keep giving you guys great stuff. But that's awesome. I have to do a giveaway for a year anniversary.
Year anniversary.
I think so. So. Oh, and then also we will be announcing the winners of our giveaway at the end of the show. Yep. It might be coming up here soon, so we will get to that. So stay tuned for that as well.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, so on X, formerly Twitter, you get ad revenue if you're a creator, if you meet certain criteria. Ficky and I both got paid the last 2 weeks for X or Twitter. And I'm giving away $100 of my ad revenue. I think Ficky's given 75 of Correct, his. Yep. So just to go, if you're listening right now to qualify, go ahead and like. You have to be subscribed. And of course, go ahead and follow at least one of us on Twitter, the BFR Pod on Twitter, just so we can go ahead and DM you. I'm doing Venmo or Zelle. I don't know, Ficky.
So I'll figure it out.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll do it too.
Yeah.
I just prefer those.
You'll get your money.
So,
and then also to the 3 past winners as well. I'll just make this real quick.
Yeah.
The jerseys are on the way. I'm personally inspecting them before I send them out to you.
I thought you were going to say personally delivering them.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? I just show up to your door. I just show up to your door and just like, here you go. No, I'm personally delivering to them. I've been in contact with them, but
cool.
Good stuff that I'm saying. Follow me and Dave. Follow the pod. We do giveaways all the time. There's even more giveaways in the Patreon. Join that as well. Thank you, guys.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's do the Justin Fields.
Back to the fun. So we'll finish up here with Justin Fields, and it's a doozy, man. Again, shout out to Ty Dune. I really do respect his work. I think this is a really good piece.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything is inaccurate, but I guess I am saying it's inaccurate. I just don't. So let's go here. Let's start with the Nick Foles, right? So this is per Ty Dune. He goes, the environment in the Bears QB room in 2021 with Justin Fields, Nick Foles, and Andy Dalton was toxic as hell. Here's a quote here from the article. There were several arguments amongst the QBs. Once, per one source, Foles was trying to teach something to Fields in the QB room, and upon turning toward the rookie, Foles realized Fields wasn't even paying attention. His head was down. At that point, Foles was done trying to play mentor. The two could not stand each other. And that was from Ty Dune, of course, on his piece on the Bears quarterback history, which is really good. You guys definitely should check it out. I think there's a lot of good nuggets in there, but I do want to discuss the Fields chatter.
It's weird because I again, shout out to Tyler. I don't think this is an indictment of him. Like, I'm sure the information that was given to him, trust the source, things like that. But it's from an outside perspective, after watching Fields and how he's kind of handled himself in the building, how players have talked about him, how the GM talked about him, how even Matt Nagy talked about him, Flus talked about him. Right now, they could all be lying. They could. I can't prove that. But it's very hard if I've been fed like this is a good guy over and over and over and over again. It's very hard for me to then be like, take this article and be like, oh, I'm going to hold a lot of value to that, because it's one data point versus thousands of data points I've gotten from multiple sources from watching this and covering this team. You know what I mean? Again, it could be true. I can't prove that, but it would almost be not fair to all the people who have said good things about Fields for me to take this one piece from an anonymous source and hold that to have more value than players in the locker room, the GM, and ex-coaches. Like, that means I'm calling all of them liars over and over and over again. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe Fields maybe Fields in that situation did do that. People have bad days. We have no idea the extra context of why Fields may have not been paying attention, right? Or may have given the cold shoulder. Like, there's not enough information there for me to be like, oh, he doesn't like Nick Foles. There's like, we're human. You know what I mean? He can have a bad day. The thing is, we hear more reports of him being a good person than even if he did have a bad day. I'm not going to hold the one bad day over the other days of him being good. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's not about, I think you're 100% accurate on good day, bad day. But it's like, at the same time, I mean, you got two different generations in Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. And you got a young kid, Justin Fields, who should have been a top 10 pick, right? He's what?
And should have been.
He was 11.
And one on the depth chart.
Well, honestly. He should have came in. He was ready to. I think the way he was going to develop the best was just throwing him out there, giving him all the reps in training camp, minicamp, rookie minicamp, everything, veteran or training camp within itself, and he would have been a different quarterback. Instead, you throw in this complicated shit with Nick Foles and Andy Dalton mentoring, and then you throw him in against Cleveland in what, week 6, 7, something along those lines.
Yeah,
it was brutal, but for me, I think there was probably some truth to this in regards to maybe them not getting along all the time. But the Bears, that whole entire year, we all talk about his rookie season being a flaw or being wasted, right? This is just a part of that equation entirely in regards to how they just went about it the entire wrong way. And I think I tweeted about Caleb Williams and how the difference between Fields and Caleb is so drastic, and how he came into the league, Justin. And now you look at what the Bears have provided for a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. It's night and day, man.
But also to go back to the OTA quote from Flus, like when they asked him, have you told Caleb he's going to be the starter? And it's like, no discussion. He's QB1. You know what I mean? Like, that is a complete opposite of how Fields was handled.
And I want to say this because I see some, we're going to get to the super chat here in a minute, but I agree. I think with this, I don't want to talk too much about Justin because we are moving on. I just don't, the slander for Justin, it doesn't make sense to me. It's weird.
Especially now.
Again, nothing against Ty and his sources, what he did. But for me and for what I've heard and what you said, Fick, you talked about the coaches and everything. This is just so out of left field.
It's a weird timing, is it?
But I agree. The Bears quarterback history, because that's what Ty was kind of alluding to and how it's been chaotic and how this actually is the best setup for the Bears and a quarterback in Caleb Williams. I get that. But for me, miss me with this slander. Miss me with this Justin Fields.
Also, why now?
It's weird.
Why? Because
it's May 13th, nothing else to talk about, I guess.
I mean, I get it. I mean, for Tyler, I understand his perspective of why doing it now, but I'm like, this sword. It's like you just want to rustle some feathers right now. Like, I don't know. And if it is true, it still doesn't, like, there's no weight to it because like how I viewed Fields at the time is kind of what I'm going to stick to. And then we're in a new chapter. This is like, you know what this is? This is like worrying about your ex when you found a better partner now. You know what I mean? It's like there's stories coming up of your ex. It's like, why are you? Who cares? Like I'm with this now. Why would I? We've moved on past that. Why are you bringing me information about my ex? I do not care. And that's nothing against Fields or Tyler. It's just like I saw it and I'm like, really? I'm really focused in on Caleb throwing dots at practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But again, I still think it was an entertaining piece outside of the field stuff. So anyways, short and sweet on that, but let's go ahead and get to we have a $20 super chat from Tito.
Oh, wow. Tito, our man.
I know.
Get $20 super chat. We appreciate it. So I'm definitely trying to get a Zoom call going. LOL. You can do that in the Patreon Hall of Fame tier, Tito. Link in description. Booker, by far my favorite pick. If you see film, there's a Texas tackle that's supposed to go first round next year, and Booker blew him away. He's going to be a stud. I'm going to have to find that, but I believe you. I mean, he blew up Jordan Morgan. I know you talked about that on our last pod. The Packers first round. Of course, we got to see it. We got to see it, on Sundays.
Yeah.
But there's some promising stuff to be excited about. You know what I mean? This isn't like Dominique Robinson where you're like, oh, this is 100% a development piece where you're like, you don't really have film. The guy's barely played the position. He just transitioned to it. I don't think it's like that much of a development. I think he needs like a year or so to kind of get things going. And then who knows if he hits his ceiling, maybe we don't have to worry about a DE2 next year. So,
yeah, no, I agree. First of all, shout out to Tito. I appreciate that, man. $20.
Yeah, thank you. Really do.
It's awesome. We appreciate the love there. And you've been a long time listener. So as far as that Zoom, absolutely Patreon. Like I said, it is new. We are getting up and running. Of course, we're going to have some NCAA college football, probably some online league there or something like that.
We'll try to figure that out.
To pair with our Madden, because that's coming out in July, and I cannot wait for it.
I'm so excited.
Super, 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 super fun. That will kind of make July the dog days of the off season, because once July is here, I mean, I think Hard Knocks starts third week of July or something like that.
I trust you because I actually don't know,
because it's the beginning of training camp, because there's cuts or something. It's around there. So
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So super, super exciting. Ficky, again, we're going to be back Wednesday, so we're going to kind of probably keep this one a little bit shorter. Typically we go 10 hours, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds on a short day.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and do these. We'll go ahead and probably do these giveaways here in a little bit.
Before we do that, let me do the if you don't mind, I'm going to do these shout outs real quick.
Yes.
And then Gage, he hashtag OG and hashtag first Discord member. This is true, and because he was a first Discord member, he got a little special gift in there. So appreciate it, Gage. And anyone who joins the Patreon, the paid version, you'll get access to the Discord. It's easy to get in there. Me and Dave are in there. We're interactive, so it should be good. Cody on here, hashtag OG, but my first time commenting. Bear down. Appreciate it, Cody. Thank you for watching the show. And then Danielle Hawkins with a hashtag OG on YouTube. What's up, Danielle? Thank you for joining the show. Giovanni Garcia, hashtag OG, bear down. Appreciate that. Mr. James, who's been commenting some great comments in here. Hashtag OG. Love the Avi there. And Philip, who's in here all the time. Sick as hell, boys. Hashtag OG. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Philip.
Thanks, Philip.
And is that it? Yep. Awesome. Perfect. So thank you, everyone who commented. If you get some in before the end of the show, we might be able to get some in. Plastic Rockets. Hashtag OG. Definitely seen you in here before. Jeremy. Got it right. Hashtag OG. Jeremy. Appreciate that. I can't believe we've been messing that up this whole time. Sorry about that, but thank you for letting us know. And then Squeegee, which that name is fire. I just subscribed.
Thank you, Squeegee.
So appreciate that.
Yeah, we have a couple questions. Let's get to those. We'll knock them out real quick, Ficky, and then we'll go ahead and do our giveaways. Like I said, $100 and $75. So again, before you do that, if you can, take a moment. If you're on your iPhone, wherever it is, hit the like button, subscribe, so you guys obviously know when we go live. Our next live episode is going to be Wednesday, 7 Central, I believe.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking. That will probably be a little bit longer episode because we are long-winded.
And we got a lot of games to talk about.
And we got a lot to talk about. We're going over the entire season. So a lot of matchups, and I'm sure we'll bleed over to other schedules that pop up. So, let's go ahead and get to these questions here.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind. And let's go ahead and bring in our producer, Jack. I just threw him on there. He's like taking a sip. I didn't even give him a warning. I just surprise. First of all, I know we talked about it earlier, but Jack, in the middle of your screen, if you're watching on YouTube, he is. I'm going to let him kind of explain, but he is going to be. He just got his dream internship job, right, Jack?
Yes. So first of all, thank you everybody for the love. I really appreciated it. I never expected 20,000 impressions, 400 likes, whatever. So thank you for that. Yes, it is an awesome opportunity. I'll be working at Soldier Field, which as a Bears fan, where else would you want to work? And so I'll be doing that over the summer. Very excited. And like I said on my tweet, I'll be sure just for BFR to make sure to give Caleb some pointers, try to sort of like mend the rookies into the city, show them around maybe if I get the chance. But Yeah, so thank you guys very much, and I
just
really
tell Caleb to come on the pod.
Yeah, that's it.
Just keep
throwing
bugging.
some BFR merch too.
I was thinking about that today. Because I go to school at DePaul, and so I'm downtown, and so I was thinking, I was like, if I ran into somebody like Big Cat, would I say like "What's up" or like fanboy over it, or would I just be like, "Come on the pod, please"?
Yeah, come on the pod, do that.
I was thinking about that earlier today.
Yeah, I'll probably do the same thing, but that's awesome though. Congrats to Jack. Like that's so fire. And then also thanks for killing it with being our producer as well. So, all right. So talking about being a great producer, already has the question locked and loaded here from Gage. He said, "Are you guys worried about Rome with him already dealing with the hammy issue?" I think we touched on this earlier in the episode. I don't think so. I don't think any of us are concerned.
He's good.
Jack, you worried? I'm assuming.
No, I agree. I think it's not like he was sitting out of practice or had a brace on or a cast or crutches, whatever. Right.
Yeah, so that would be issues.
Exactly.
100%. Okay. We got King. I'm gonna say that's a King. I don't actually know your name on Twitter. No, that's for all of us. Ficky, biggest worry going into the season. Wow, I was trying not to think about negative stuff, but it's very easy, isn't it? Biggest worry. You know what? I'll put this. There are a lot of high expectations, which is not our fault, right now about this team. So obviously there is a realization that there could be injuries or Caleb doesn't live up to the mark, and this season is like dog shit. That is the worst case scenario. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that's what I'm worried about, but if there was something to make me pull out all my hair, it would be that. What about you guys? Like, what's your biggest concern?
Well, is it worry or concern?
Worry.
Okay, so for me, my biggest worry, because like how you word that, my biggest worry is an injury from Caleb.
Yeah.
And I knock on wood. I don't know if that was loud for our Spotify listeners or podcasters. That would suck. Like you could just deflate the season, and it's just like down the drain. Because this is rookie year. There's a lot of excitement, like you said. Expectations are playoffs, in my opinion, and so I just hope he stays healthy. I'm cool if he misses a game or two, but like, don't give me that drastic. He's out for the season after week 3 or some shit. Because then it's like a long season.
But you don't want that Anthony Richardson treatment.
But you could have a really high first round pick, maybe. Well, Tyson Bagent. Never mind. We're going to Super Bowl, so
yeah. Come on.
Anyway,
what about you, Jack?
Jack, what are you feeling? Biggest worry.
I would have said injury too. I mean, obviously injuries suck, but since Dave stole mine, I'll switch over to I would say, let's go with like a worst case scenario is, could you imagine if after all this that Pulls is built and like all this hype and stuff, we win 4 games or something like that, and it's just like
with no injuries too.
So awful. Yeah, right.
Yeah, just like they're just garbage.
Team, like this is the best we've ever had in a long time, and 4 wins. So that let's go with that.
That's everyone's healthy. We get 4 wins, Jack. That is probably a bit. That is
concerning. There is.
That sounds like some firings.
Yeah, everyone's gone at that.
Screw the stadium.
We
got bigger problems. Anyways, good question.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Philip here says, "What does a successful season look like for Javon Dexter?" I say that's kind of tough because defensive tackle does, like, when they do their job sometimes, especially at 3-tech, you don't always see it on the stat sheet. So, wait, Jack, turn your internet off.
I think he was saying, like, don't manifest that in the world.
Oh, no, that's fair.
Or he hates me, one of the
two. Hopefully the first part. I was like, man, D does not.
Or he can't
like me. It's one of the two.
No, that's fair. He's got a good point, because that would be the worst.
But Javon Dexter, I think that's a really good question, because you bring up a good point with defensive tackles. But I think for me, it's like, if we see him in the back, like if you see him blowing stuff up, you hear his name throughout the broadcast, that's a successful season. You can go stats and, this many sacks or this many pressures, but it's like, if we are on a consistent basis seeing an impact, once or twice, a drive, and then you have, some wow moments where it pops off the screen, and then you'll start seeing, having a game plan for a guy like, that's making an impact that hopefully Javon Dexter does. But for me, it's like, you'll see it. You might not always see it, I should say, but as long as you hear his name, and you see the positive development, because you kind of saw it late last year.
Yeah, a little bit.
So for me, it's like, build on that, and then hopefully the production comes. But for me, it's like just causing havoc back there, making people uncomfortable, making quarterbacks uncomfortable, disrupting in the middle of that line. We saw it firsthand with the Bears last couple of years with Justin Fields and how pressure, it can really be like, especially with Fields, it was terrible. Like you have a guy coming right up the middle after you snap the ball, like a second after. It's done. Yeah, you're basically throwing the white flag sometimes. And with Fields and how athletic he was, he kind of was able to kind of cover some of those flaws in the Bears offensive line last couple of years. So for me, if Javon Dexter can kind of do what other kind of defensive tackles have done to the Bears on not every single snap, of course, it's unrealistic, but just to see it more often than we did last year and more of what we saw down the stretch of the 2023 season. So that's really hard, but of course I'd love to see more sacks, more production always. But I think he was still third on pressures on the Bears defense. So
yeah, you just want him to be
pretty
kind
good from
of
rookie.
like, you want to walk away and have a good feeling, like gut feeling, like, okay, this guy is making plays enough to where we don't have to worry about signing or drafting his replacement. But Jack, what about you? Do you have anything in particular with Javon where it's like, oh, this is a successful season due to this?
Yeah, I like Dave's sort of just like seeing development. Like it's very clear when you can see development in a guy, especially someone on the line. Because, like it depends on how many guys they're lining up against him, things like that. The thing for me, and it's a very personal thing for Javon with me, is we spent a second round pick on him in 23. And so I really, really you got to start showing something. And I know it's a sophomore season and things like that. But the reason it's personal for me is I was the biggest fan of John Michael Schmitz. I love the dude. And so I think a lot of Bears fans were sort of the same way. And we passed on him to go to tackle. And then yet still our only hole really on offense is the center position. Yeah. So it's like, that's why it's a little more personal for me. I hope that, again, just play better. Or
play better.
For lack of a better
on a shirt.
God, Jack.
Yeah.
Play better, Javon.
I'm just saying, be better. But no, seriously, seeing some growth development. Maybe I love a good stat sheet. And so if I can see some pressure, sacks, tackle for losses, things like that, I would love to see that. But
that's be better. That's it.
Be better. Be better. That's simple.
Put on a shirt.
Absolutely. Jack, what we got next? Okay, D Burns with, hey, Ficky, when is D-Walk going to show up to work? Wait, DeMarcus Walker, is he not? I don't think he's supposed to be showed up to work yet because it's just rookie OTAs. So I'm not. If you could clarify that, we'll definitely come back to that. I don't think
he's not there yet. He'll be there soon.
Yeah. Now, if he's not there, we'll come. Like if it comes to mandatory and he's not there, then yes, you can definitely bring this back to me and we'll see why he wasn't there. But if you can give more context to that, we'll definitely come back to that. Daniel Hawkins said, Dave and Ficky, what do you think of Bears possibly picking up Calais Campbell? Dave talked about it. It could happen. Definitely a veteran presence. It wouldn't be the worst move, especially since we don't have like a very strong defense.
38 years old, though. I do like what he brings. He still had 39 pressures last year and like a handful of sacks. So I would probably still maybe run it back with Yannick. That's where I would be leaning. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst option. You probably wouldn't cost that much, but there might be some better options out there. I don't know. And then also, if we think about Booker, it's like, is he going to be taking a lot of reps from Booker, right? But again, maybe you want to put the best players out there. I don't know. That's definitely a polls decision.
No, but depth. I think depth. Either way, I think just get some depth. Because say you bring in Calais and he starts off, getting 60, 70% of the reps, right? Hopefully by the end of the season, he's down to 30, 40. And you in a perfect world, you have Austin Booker who's showing signs of some life and some value to the roster on game day. So
spot on.
Good question.
Yeah, great question. And then we got one from Philip, who said, who will be the fifth leading receiver for the 2024, 2025 Chicago Bears? That's a tough one. Can I start this and say, I think we'll agree that the order is the top three is going to be our top three receivers. And then Cole will probably be fourth. So who's fifth? Is it a receiver? Is it a running back? Is it another tight end?
Fifth leading receiver? Are we going?
Yeah,
if you're honest, it's probably going to be a tight end. after those three.
Yeah,
which would be Cole.
No, Cole I think will be 4. I think the top 3 will probably. Yeah, and then 5th would be either Gerald Everett, DeAndre Swift. I think
it goes Swift 5th.
Like what? Probably like Swift gets like 300 to 400 yards receiving. Cole's going to have probably like 5 to 6 or more, right? And then I think DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Keenan Allen are going to have somewhere around like 2,600, 2,700.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my guess.
So, I mean, Swift had he had 39 receptions for 214 yards last year.
Okay. So
his most was in 2021. He had 452 yards. I mean, so he's been above 300 the last 3 years, but was at 214 last year. But the Eagles had a lot of weapons, but the Bears do too. So I could see it going Cole and then Swift. But yeah, sneaky one right there could be
Gerald Everett.
Maybe Gerald Everett,
like 3. Maybe? I mean, Cole would probably get less.
I would like to see Scott, but it's just like it's such a crowded. There's so many weapons. So
yeah.
Velus Jones it is. We all agree. Good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
On to
last question. Let's get to our giveaways though.
Yep. Last question from Gage again. Hey Dave, something Ficky and I were chatting about. Can you think of when the last time our offense has been this stacked?
Yeah, it's a good question. 2021 or 2022 Justin Fields' second sophomore season was N'Keal Harry and a bunch of dogs out there.
Yeah.
No, I would say the Cutler, Marshall, Jeffrey, Forte lineup was pretty electric. Just didn't have a defense that year. What 20?
I think they were top 5 in the NFL in offense.
They were potent, but I know it's hot takey, but it's like I think this offense, if Caleb is the real deal and he catches, he has a Stroud type,
season
impact early. This could be nasty, right away. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think we all should be. But again, I appreciate all the questions. Is that all, Jack?
Well, that's it.
All right, boys. Hey, Ficky. Okay.
Sorry, Forte said, please answer my question, but I'm not seeing it.
If you could, what a name.
Go ahead
Forte.
Forte. I'll find it.
Okay.
That's a funny name though. I mean,
40
YouTube don't come for us, but that is a very clever name to use Bears players there. But but if you post it again, we'll go ahead and put it up there. But yeah, I think Devin Hester was a part of that team too. Like when he was kind of decently, he was doing some wide receiver at that point. So yeah, that's a pretty stacked team. This team could be better though. This, at least on paper, this team has the potential to be better, no doubt.
But anyways, good vibes all around. Rookie mini camps over. Ficky, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first. You go first. I'm about
to again, appreciate everyone that kind of clocked in for this giveaway. Hold on, I'm trying to get this app up here. Okay. So again, my giveaway, $100 Twitter X Rad X, formerly Twitter revenue, goes to, hold on. Okay. It goes to Cole G on Twitter. Cole, I don't know if that's 0 or O, but I follow you. I'm going to go ahead and message you on Twitter. I think it's Cole. But congratulations we'll again. So how this works, I think I'm just going to do it. I used to do it on Twitter, but we get paid every 2 weeks from Twitter. The amount kind of goes up and down. And I'm going to go ahead and give it away on this podcast probably every 2 weeks. So whatever that episode kind of falls, I'm going to go ahead and do. We wouldn't be getting any of this money if you guys didn't support on that platform.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's exciting to go ahead and give back to you guys. And again, Cole G, I'm actually going to DM you now, man. And then Ficky, if you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just put it in. Got a lot of people that liked it, so appreciate it. And let's go and see what we get.
Cole Grady.
All right. It's going to go to Life of ZP. I will hit you up. So I appreciate you for all of you. Jeez. I appreciate. Let's try that again. Talk about OTAs. This is my practice. I appreciate all of you who participated in it. And like we said, if you follow Dave and I, Jack as well, give him a follow as well. We do giveaways on there. Jersey giveaways, we've done that. We've done this ad revenue giveaway. We're also going to be doing bigger and better giveaways on the Patreon, so you should join. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of great other features on there as our features, other great stuff we're doing on there as well. So like a mailbag exclusive episode, private one-on-one Zoom calls, or 1-on-3 or whoever it is, whoever's in that tier. Number V3.
What are we talking about right now?
Initiation. It's
20v1.
It's how you get into the BFR gang. You know what I mean? So a lot of great stuff on there. So make sure to check out the Patreon, and we obviously appreciate the support in any way that you guys support us, free, paying, all that stuff. It's all helpful. It goes back into the pod to help it grow and give you guys better episodes and more exciting things. So appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Mr. James is already ready. He's already ready.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Anyways, though, shout out to you guys. Again, we have an episode 2 days from now, not even 2 days, less than 48 hours. We'll be back live on Wednesday. Me, Ficky, and I'm sure Jack will hop in as well. If he's available, I'm sure he's available.
I'll be there.
But yeah, we'll have our record predictions. I think we have Nick Whalen from the Bear With Us podcast hopping on as well. So tune in for that. It's going to be a fun, lively episode. We appreciate the support. Again, follow everything BFR _pod on all socials. And then, of course, you follow us, our tags, our users are on the screen. Maybe Jack Scroggs _ and Dave _ BFR on all socials, all platforms. And we'll be back Wednesday. We got a schedule.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, it doesn't change who we play, but it'll be fun to actually see when it is.
It's always fun to look. Yeah, put some.
And let's be real. Like, I'm ready for the Chargers to drop their schedule video because they kill it.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about that. It looks like the Bears are going with some Ferris Bueller vibes.
Yeah, going back to Chicago stuff. Yeah. Well, last year was cool. What they did the Bear, right?
That was great. I love it.
That was fire. So
that was cool. I remember.
You know what?
It's gonna be hard to top.
The Bears content team has been stepping up their game because like 3 years ago, the Bears content was.
Well, they got a live stream minicamp or training camp. Yeah, if they really want to get there. So
yeah, they're getting there. So hats off to them. Thanks for giving us fire content to talk about. But yeah,
absolutely, boys. Well, hey, appreciate it. Good show, and we will be back Wednesday, 7 Central. And it's gonna be a fun episode. Appreciate y'all.
All right, peace.